What's up, everybody? Celtic Scarecrow here, back with our video to get those 10s and 20 views. Like I said on my last video, which is actually live up on the Rumble at the moment, I am making changes to the real world. I've added more green screens so you can see it's a lot better. I'm planning on hunting down one of those big circle lights for this half, moving the light that's hitting my face to hit down here. Because it's one of those things of more lighting, crappier ghosts, just that big chestnut of things. But we are continuing with Otto van Bismarck. Did the video last week and actually thoroughly enjoyed it. The cartoon style is kind of a little meh to me, but no, I can't draw. All this cool stuff was done by my buddy Adam, so I kind of can't complain. But let's just get to the reaction. It's Saturday. You want to watch college football? I'm actually at work at the moment, so it's one of those things where it's like, we got things to do today, good sir. Let's put on the headphones. Ugh, my neck is stiff. I don't know. This been stuck in my head. And go.
1848. The People's Spring. Springtime of Nations. The year of revolution.
Viva la revolution. Like my Tony Hawk Pro Skater again.
Bismarck's political life ended nearly as abruptly as it started. For as the summer of 1847 began, the king, unable to get a railroad grant from the Diet without also
I can't get a grant from the Diet either.
Granting a constitution, threw his hands up in the air, dissolved the Diet, and sent everybody packing. Bismarck went back home to his estate, finally completed that whole business of getting married, and
bastard
went on his honeymoon. But as he traveled Europe, and when he returned home, he noticed a strange tension in the air, an unrest in the streets, in the cities. Then, in February 1848, Paris erupted. The monarchy fell. A republic was re-established in France. Bismarck was...
We're slightly to blame for kind of all this stuff. They spent a lot of money helping out America and then couldn't afford nothing, and then, it kind of went to hell. So Europe, you're welcome for kind of the fall of the kings.
Concerned. At home and abroad, he had seen the strain between the working class and those who ruled, but he never expected something so abrupt or so successful to happen in France. Then...
It's France. Oh, no, correction. Back then, France was actually a pretty powerhouse.
Vienna fell. Metternich, the great Austrian statesman and architect of the Concert of Europe, was displaced. This opened up an opportunity, as the Austrians had long been the dominant force of...
Yeah, look at that map of... there, it's like a couple countries that don't exist at the time. Like look, Prussia, which would just turn into Germany. Russian Empire, there's Poland. Czech Republic and Slovakia are somewhere around here.
Among German states, but it also served as a warning. It was clear that revolution was coming to Prussia soon. But
yeah, and we have commercials. No, Stafford, you spent less time filming pizza commercials, you wouldn't have gotten destroyed by the Bills in week 1. Stupid ads. Unskippable ads.
But Bismarck worried that the king was too weak and too vacillating to put down a revolution. And he was right, as word of the revolution...
Because Bismarck, as we learned, is smart.
Revolution in Vienna spread, Prussians took to the streets, and soon the king promised them a constitutional government. But as the people were celebrating their victory in Berlin, the celebration turned into a clash. Shots were fired. Government troops killed revolutionaries.
that kind of tends to how most revolutions start. Somebody shoots, and then people get pissed.
Many, including Bismarck, believed that now there was no choice but to crush the revolution. The king, though, disagreed and ordered the troops out of Berlin, effectively leaving himself hostage to the revolution. And then came the first of Bismarck's good-ish ideas.
I have good-ish ideas. But
raced back to his estate and organized an old-school peasant levy. Yes, in the middle of the 19th century, he tried to press his peasants into service as their feudal lord in order to put down a revolution whose stated goals were to enfranchise and empower those same peasants. With this great idea in mind, he handed them all shotguns and said, "Come on, lads, to Berlin." But just as they were
no.
storming off, one of his spoiled
The South didn't even try that one. You know that's a bad idea.
sport neighbors came out and told him to stop hurling a firebrand into the country, threatening to talk the peasants out of this nonsense. Bismarck politely replied, "You know that I am a quiet man, but if you do that, I shall shoot you." So with revolver in hand and four bullets in his
So he gets roughly somewhere between 8 and 10 shots.
pocket, he led his feudal levy to go liberate the king. Unfortunately, when he got to the first army camp, which was staffed by many of the conservative officers that he had come to mingle with after making his fiery speeches in Berlin, he was promptly told, "Yes, we are all a bit disappointed right now, but no, we really don't want your peasant mob messing this up even more, so how about you go send your peasants back and bring us some corn and potatoes or something?" Not content to serve as mere fodder provider for the army, Otto then had his second good-ish idea. He left his estate and tried to sneak into Berlin again, with the cleverest of ruses, trimming his beard.
Hey! There's a man who can trim a good bunch of fish hair off. It can slightly work.
Needless to say, many people saw through his incredible mind games, and soon he was laughed out of Berlin. But Bismarck was not done. He had a third good-ish idea. With the king making ever greater concessions to the revolutionaries, Bismarck saw it as his place to help elevate one of the king's relatives to the throne. So Bismarck went all in on trying to replace King Frederick Wilhelm with a confusingly but more succinctly named King Wilhelm. But Wilhelm had legged it to England, and he wasn't going to listen to this wild man anyway. So Bismarck began to hunt for a new candidate. Soon he found another royal relative named Charles, who proposed that his even more confusingly named son, Frederick Wilhelm, should replace Frederick Wilhelm on the throne. This Frederick Wilhelm, or Fritz, I'm going to call him Fritz, was 6 years old. But nobody had asked Fritz's mom. I mean, they eventually did, but more as an afterthought, with Bismarck awkwardly meeting her in her servants' quarters. Not asking turned out to be a mistake, though, because Fritz's mom supported the liberals and put the kibosh on the whole thing.
Yeah, mom can outright dads at times.
It would seem that Bismarck had made an enemy of the mother of this 6-year-old he hoped to put on the throne. Nonetheless, he was soon summoned for the Second Prussian Diet, which the king had ordered assembled to hammer out how to make a real parliament for Prussia. There, Bismarck spoke passionately about the noble past that they were so casually throwing away, even becoming choked with emotion and having to stop mid-speech. But to no avail.
Yeah, I don't think so. When you have America who just overthrew England not that long ago, and France falling, and other countries, they're like, well, it's time, now or nothing.
The Diet did its job and created the Prussian National Assembly, which Bismarck was very not elected to.
Shocking.
This Prussian National Assembly pushed for a real parliamentary system along British lines, though, and soon the king began to lose patience with the body. So Bismarck joined the Camarilla, which was not in fact a secret society of vampires which has kept their presence hidden from humanity for hundreds of years, though I can understand your confusion.
I don't understand that joke. It probably isn't real. I haven't looked into it, but no, that would have been a lot cooler.
And let's be honest, Bismarck would have made a great vampire, but no. Bismarck joined the
He was a wild man. No, he's not. What is mild man years? He's actually happily married, so vampires are normally like seducers.
much more boring but real group of nobles and courtiers close to the king who were determined to maintain the power of the monarchy through non-vampiric means.
Maybe they should have used vampiric means. Now I'm more of a...
And let's go ahead and call this one Bismarck's first actual good idea. Because
Yeah, no, I'm more of a werewolf person. No. Liking dogs a lot better than I do like bats, so...
this put him in contact with many powerful men. But even though, by all accounts, he was an effective member of the society, and even though he had amplified the conservative voice in Prussian politics by establishing a newspaper, when the liberal cause fell apart and the conservatives once again became ascendant, he was passed over for a cabinet position. They were very happy to use him when a radical was needed, but once the time came to re-establish order, the wild man was cast aside.
That makes sense. Also, this is how a lot of these like revolutionaries work. Let's overthrow the power. Let's use crazy people to do it. Oh, look, we have power. Well, let's get rid of the crazy people because they're crazy and they will just take us out next.
So Bismarck returned to his estate to witness the birth of his first child. But Bismarck had a plan. Bismarck always had a plan. You see, even though the liberals had failed to get anything like the constitution they had wanted, they had gotten a constitution, and with it, a parliament, the Landtag. And Bismarck, always a pragmatist under whatever colors he may have worn, decided to get himself elected to this new body. The fight was fierce. He knew that he wouldn't get elected in his own region, so he decided to run for office in the city of Brandenburg. But there he was an outsider, running against the local mayor. He acted with vigor, describing his campaign headquarters as a military camp, with messengers running in and out at all hours, and strategy being formulated so that he never missed an opportunity to speak to the few hundred men who would eventually determine the representative for Brandenburg.
Yeah, right. Back then, the women weren't really allowed to vote. But I bet you a lot of women could tell their husbands who to vote for.
He won by 25 votes. Now he was...
Out of how many, good sir? That's the real question.
Was once again at the center of things, and the question at hand on everybody's mind was the unification of Germany. If the 39 German states that had survived the Napoleonic invasion banded together, they...
Yeah, look at everything there is old school Germany, and it gets completely destroyed later.
He could change the face of European politics forever. But how to achieve that was a matter of some debate. They could either come together under Austria or under Prussia. But Austria rejected the possibility of unification, because the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Habsburg-inherited lands included far more territory than just the German portions. And the whole point of unification was German nationalism. Germans would never accept rule by a sovereign who was also ruling over other nations.
Fair point.
This meant that the Austrians would either have to divide their empire and give some other branch of the family their German territories, or simply reject unification outright, and they chose the latter. The German National Assembly, which was different from the Landtag in that it represented all German states, decided, with little other choice, to offer the imperial crown to Frederick Wilhelm.
Yeah, there it goes again.
Nobles in the Landtag, including Bismarck, urged him to accept. But the king rejected the proposal, and this allowed Bismarck the opportunity to rail against the constitution that would have come with it. He was blasted by the press, and sure
Shocking.
of losing his seat in the next election. But when the king dissolved the Landtag, he changed the election rules for the next session in ways that favored landowners like Bismarck, which ensured his re-election. After giving some blistering speeches on the role of the monarchy and some strong invectives against even the monarch's own move toward a constitutional unification, Bismarck got himself moved to the new assembly debating the question of unification. But before that could go anywhere, he got caught up in the next great conflict. The war over territory seemed to loom between Austria and Prussia, and it is here that we see the evolution of Bismarck.
Yes, he lost some of his hair and it went from blonde to brown.
Because though in many ways he was and always would be a man of war, when a settlement was offered and many pushed to reject it and go to war instead, Bismarck rose and said, "It is unworthy of a great state to fight for something which does not concern its own interest. Gentlemen, show me an objective worthy of war, and I will go along with you." It is easy enough for a statesman to ride the popular wave from the comfort of his own fireside, making thunderous speeches from the rostrum, letting the public sound the trumpets of war, and leaving it to the musketeer, bleeding out his life's blood in the snowy wastes to settle whether policies end in glory or in failure. Nothing is simpler. But woe to any statesman who, at such a time, fails to find a cause of war which will stand up to scrutiny once the fighting is over.
Smart. And we got, what, Shakespeare quote?
And so begins the transformation of Bismarck the Radical to Bismarck, man of realpolitik.
So this is highly entertaining. I'm so happy Big Gator 5 kind of suggests me. I would have gone to Death Battle, which is something I kind of already have seen, and unsure how they are with their copyright. So this will allow me to stay away from any potential copyright things. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to do things.
Bolin, do the thing.
What thing?
The thing! I never had to tell Julie what thing.
I'm not Julie, okay? Pretend I don't know anything about anything that's happening here.
Made it this far, you can at least do that. Like this video if you like this video. Dislike it if you dislike it. I will only slightly hold it against you there. But leave a comment if there's something you want to say. You don't like the Penguins? How badly are the Irish going to lose today to Cal? I think they squeak it out. I think they might actually squeak this one out. And yeah, that's all I got. So I will see you weird people later.